Hey guys, how's it going? There's Monkey. Oh, so here we are, Sunday morning. Um, Cooler Sunday morning, but that's all right. It's spring, we can do that. Um, so how we doing? How's your weekend? Everybody good? Um, yeah, good. Had the show last night. Went well. Did a couple of live stream intermittent between set things. Which I hadn't done before, and maybe I'll do that some more because that was kind of cool. Um, Probably do that the next show we play. Next show we do is June 1st at Main Street in Hopkins. And then the next day, June 2nd, we're playing the patio at this place called Billy's in Anoka, which I have never heard of. I don't think I've ever been to Anoka. Maybe I have, I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so that was fun. And as most of you probably saw, Nicens was nice enough to ask us back. We now have dates in, I think August. Yeah, August, and then October, the 27th, we're doing a Halloween party with costumes and prizes and the whole deal. So come up for that one. That should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. And we're also playing at Nicens for New Year's Eve. So that should all be fun. Because as I said last night, I love playing Nicens. It's a good place, great stage, great sound. Sound guy's really cool. All the staff that I've met is really cool. It's just a good time. It's a good time. So, what else have I talked about? Oh, the show. Where did my notes go? The show I went to on Tuesday. Gotta do something with the hair. Which was Raven Black, the Tiny Monsters tour. I should have grabbed all my shit. Oh well. That's okay. Okay, so Tuesday, 15th, at Lee's Liquor Lounge. 5 bands, 2 local, 3 national touring. Believe all 3 are from LA. Hadn't heard of any of them. Had only heard of Raven Black through Infamous Memories because they're huge fans of them. And actually, it was them. It was Infamous Memories and their bassist Shaggy in particular who basically hustled and put the show together and got it to happen. So kudos to him. So, sorry guys, recovering from being sick and a little beat from last night. So we'll go through. First band up was, before that, I am starting to enjoy is the wrong word, but appreciate my position in the musical community, I guess. For example, on Tuesday, I'm walking up, and I just came straight from work because I had to stay at work a little bit later. I was going to go home and change the stuff, but I had to stay at work a little bit later, and it was an early show. It started at 7, so I just went. I think I probably walked around Target a little bit because that's what you do to kill time, and then went and got something to eat, went to Subway, and then walked up to Lee's. It was a gorgeous night out. It was really, really nice, so I didn't mind the walking. And even before I get to the door, the first person I run into is my buddy, Greg Chilton. You all know Greg Chilton, Outside the Murder, Ritual Madness podcast, etc., mover and shaker in the scene. So even before I'm in the door, I'm running into people I know. And we had a little chat about the Soulfly show. I told him just again how surprised and impressed I was with Outside the Murder set. And we both agreed that Niall was kind of boring. So So that was cool. And then I go in, and the lady me a ticket, and even before I get to the bar, I have Randy from Karma Sutra saying hey, and Matt from Infamous Memories, whose birthday it was, saying hey. So I'm like, hey, my people. So that was really cool. So went to the bar, got a drink, chatted with Randy a little bit, wished Matt a happy birthday, and did all that. And then just kind of hanging around, said hi to Dom, Infamous Memories drummer, Dominic, and kind of said hey to Shaggy. He, of course, inquired if I actually had a job because I'm at all these shows and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I came from work. I have my work shirt right here. Being funny. But yeah, I mean, the overall feeling of the night, it was just such a good vibe. It was just such a good, positive vibe, with the exception of one thing, which I'll get to in a little bit. So first band up was Karma Sutra. Well, I think I've talked about them before, but they're good. They're killer. And all really good guys too. And how would I describe? I mean, they're hard rock / metal, but then with this, I think Randy is trying to infuse this whole steampunk element to it. I don't know if it really translates in the music itself, but more in the visual style, with the various steampunky top hats and the goggles and all that. And if you know Karma Sutra, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they're cool. I like them. They're though I was worried because I knew they were looking for a new drummer, and so when they started playing, I'm looking at the drummer and I'm like, okay, he's good, but something's a little off about him. And then it was later revealed that, that's their rhythm guitarist who was filling in on drums, and their drummer their old new drummer. So their drummer from like 2 drummers ago or 3 drummers ago, before this guy Lucas, who was the only person I saw play drums for them. So their old drummer is now their new drummer, and he'll be starting at their next show. So I was like, oh, that's good, because I was getting worried there for a second. So I'm curious. I'm anxious to see them again in full form, because I don't think I've ever seen them as a 5-piece with 2 guitar players. I don't think so. In all the times I've seen them, maybe I have and I just don't remember, but I don't think I have. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious about that. And then the other thing is, so I was talking to Randy after their set, and saying good job, whatever. And he's introducing me to all his bandmates, and the bass player Russell Berry. He at some point, after we were introduced and all that, and at some point he's like, do you do the podcast on YouTube? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's not a podcast. I make some videos, but not a podcast. He's yeah, I've seen him. I must have tagged him somewhere along the line on Facebook, and he saw it, and he went back and apparently watches all my videos, and he says I introduce him to all the good stuff, which I hope so. I mean, I'm trying to do my part. So that was really cool, to actually meet someone face to face who's like, yeah, I watch your shit. So that was really cool. Thank you, Russell. And so, next band up, Infamous Memories. You've heard me talk about these guys. They're just a fun band to watch. I mean, they're all really great guys. Matt and Dom and Shaggy and Melina. They just have a really good energy on stage, a really good chemistry on stage. and it's kind of infectious. And I think the fact that it was Matt's birthday, he was in like an extra special good mood, kind of helped. And I think this is the first time I've seen him where Matt actually kept his clothes on the entire set. And if you know Matt, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, again, they're just good. You gotta see them at some point. They're just a good band. Next time I will probably see them will be June 23rd, I want to say, which is it was going to be the Digital Homicide CD release party, but they parted ways with their singer Jason, which I'm kind of sad about. Now it's just a Digital Homicide show, but it's them. I believe it's them. Back up Sunday morning. Digital Homicide, Sid 7, Infamous Memories, Iridius, and there might be one more band, but I'm not sure. So, I mean, just those four. I mean, that's already a killer lineup. So that one I'm going to try to go to. So, yeah, and hope to see you all there. And that's at least as well, if I didn't mention that, the 23rd. So that'll be awesome. Okay, so then that's the two local acts. And then the next band up is a band called Aboleth, who just by the name, I kind of figured were probably a death metal band, you know, or a heavier band. So they get up, and it's three of them. They have a drummer, they have a guitar player, and they have a singer. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And they, excuse me. And they proceed to play just really good, heavy, blues-influenced sludge stuff. And it is awesome. Within 3 songs, I was like, yes, yes, this is, yeah. You know that feeling. And then, a couple things happened during their set. At one point, the vocals dropped out. I don't know if the mains cut out for a second. Maybe the mains and some of the lights, I'm not sure. And it was funny because there being a lot of musicians and musical types in the audience, that happened. Everybody immediately looked at the sound guy, and the sound guy's just like, they got it going again relatively quickly, but that was just kind of a funny moment. And then Raven, the singer for Raven Black, shouted from the audience something about, you know, the joy of live music, or that's what you get with live music, or, you know, and that wouldn't happen at like a Justin Bieber concert or something. And we all applauded and yayed because, you know, that's what you do. And then the other thing that I found really cool, and this really sealed the deal. I mean, I was already convinced that I was a fan of Aboleth, and then this really sealed it because they announced, you know, next time we're going to do a song called Painkiller. And I was like, okay, not thinking, you know, just thinking it was one of their songs called Painkiller. And then the drummer goes in the intro, and they're playing Judas Priest's Painkiller, and they nail it. They absolutely nail it. And I'm just like, okay, yes. If you could do, you know, heavy rock, heavy blues, and Judas fucking Priest, which is what I told the singer when I went up afterwards to get some merch. I was like, yeah, you guys are freaking awesome. And again, so appreciative of everybody and all the bands, all the locals and stuff. So yeah, if you have a chance, check them out. Aboleth, ABOLETH is how you spell it. Aboleth. Check those guys out. They're freaking awesome. Okay, this is where the story gets interesting. Because the next band up was a band called Heil Sagan, who again I hadn't heard the name. And so, Aboleth is done, they tear down, and then Heil Sagan starts to set up, and they've got lots of stuff. Because they brought in, like, the side, like, lighting poles, and they have these big, like, LED, like, block lights, like, with 3 sections. They had one on each side. And they also had, they brought in, like, curtains and their little Heil Sagan logos, and they had, like, fake candles and stuff, and lots of smoke. And so I was like, okay, interesting. And I noticed that the crowd dropped by about half when they went on. Everybody went outside to have a smoke. And I was like, okay, interesting. So they started, and they're, at least on stage, I don't know how they usually are, but on stage there was 4 people. There was a drummer, a guitar player, singer, female singer, and then some guy who looked like a keyboardist, but I'm not sure it was a keyboard or a sampler or whatever. He didn't seem to be doing much, and they were using, quite a few backing tapes, which always kind of annoys me. But so they come out and they come out with Epic, Faith No More's Epic, and that's what they open with. And it was kind of loud, a little bit louder than the other bands. I'm like, okay, I've heard that volume change before, so we'll kind of roll with it. And going along, and then they start, they kind of get through that, and it's a fairly good version, I guess. Still prefer the original, obviously, because Mike Patton is a freaking guy. And the rest of Faith No More, don't get me wrong. But if you're not a fan of Faith No More, definitely check him out. Mike Patton is probably one of the more underrated vocalists. And I didn't say singer. He can sing too, but the other stuff he does with his voice, within a single, 2 lines of a song, he can go from low moaning to crooning to screaming, and does them all expertly. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar with Faith No More, definitely check him out. I don't know if I can recommend any of Mike Patton's other 15,000 other projects, but yeah, definitely the Faith No More canon, definitely. So anyway, so I'm watching them, and I'm watching. Well, there was a lot of smoke on stage, so I'm trying to watch the drummer, as I always do, and doing all right, and I'm looking at the singer, and I'm like, something isn't between the way she's opening her mouth and the sound that's coming out of the speaker. Something isn't quite clicking. Found out later that she was actually lip syncing the entire show. And I'm like, oh, that explains it. And the only other, because the music was all right. It wasn't really my taste, and the presentation was very abrasive and very confrontational, which I don't really dig. Do what you got to do, I guess, but it just seemed a little over the top for me. And the other thing, the main thing I found annoying about them, and since she was lip syncing, this kind of makes sense, was that between songs, anytime she spoke between songs, she screamed and yelled into the microphone. Okay, you're already amplified. You don't need to scream. Lee's is not that big of a place. If you put the mic down and screamed, we would hear you just fine. Or talked regular into the microphone. You do not need to scream into the microphone. So that was a little painful. And so, so that was the one kind of downer note on the night was their set, and then some other stuff that happened later, which I may time out. So it's like, okay, that's over. And then Raven Black started setting up, and to be honest, I honestly didn't know if I would like Raven Black. I mean, I'd seen a couple of their videos online, and I know a couple of the local bands are fans, are big fans. But they looked, I don't want to say gimmicky, but, well, oh crap. Hold on, just one second. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's a cover of their first CD. So I don't know if you can see that, but they're all in, kind of costume and makeup, and they have, kind of that thing going. And, here's the new album. It's very kind of cartoony, kind of horror thing. And so I saw the singer kind of wandering around in all of her garb, which I don't know. I mean, I've seen live streams. I watched a live stream with her, and she was in her garb, so I don't know if she just lives like that. Maybe if she does, more power to her. But where was I going with that? Other than the fact that she's like 4'0". Anyway, but so it's all set up, and they had like a bunch of like props, like they brought up. I'm trying to remember, but they had like a old-fashioned like bassinet with, I'm sure, some sort of baby in it, a rocking chair with like a big teddy bear and like a tricycle, and like all kinds of weird stuff. It like, kind of looked like a blackboard. So I'm like, okay, it seemed kind of gimmicky and kind of whatever. But I'm open. I'll give them a shot, sure. And they came on. Crowd came back in full force, which should have been a sign. And then, they started, and again, like with Aboleth, within probably 3 songs, I was like, okay, yeah, these guys are fucking good. It's heavy, but it's also, some of the actual notes and stuff they're playing is very like typical like circus music. It's got that kind of a feel, but like a evil, like haunted circus. And her voice is really good, and I don't know, it was just it worked, and it clicked with me, and I was like, okay, yeah, these guys are definitely a band to look out for. And I hope they come back again, because I really actually would like to see them again. And yeah. So anyway, so good vibes with the local band, good vibes with Aboleth, downer with Heil Sagan, came right back up with Raven Black, and everybody was having a great time, hanging out, and all the Infamous Memory guy. Well, at least Dom and Matt. I didn't see Shaggy anywhere, or Lena. But they're in the front row, just fucking rocking out. And Matt, who knows these guys, somehow gets on stage. Not somehow. It's Lee's. You can just walk on stage. And he's got this mischievous grin, and he's just kind of walking around doing his thing. And he does that a couple times. The guitar player between songs calls for a shot, wants a shot, and I don't know how much he'd had before then, but from when he called for a shot to the end of the show, which was probably only about maybe 20, 25 minutes, I think with the assistance of Matt Rutherford, he did about five or six various shots. Um, Matt did a couple as well. I think he was literally feeding shots to the people on stage at one point. Matt was fed the drummer at least one. Um, he was just trying to encourage people. He's trying to get the pit going. At one point, he picked up Raven and kind of threw her on the crowd, and there was some crowd surfing going on. He tried to do that to guitar player, but it really wasn't working because guitar player is a lot bigger than Raven and can't really pick him up, and they were both kind of drunk, and anyway. But and again, I think that kind of contributed to the good time feeling of the show. It just that the camaraderie and everybody's together, and Raven was excited because she'd never stage dived before, and she's hoping somebody got it on video. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, again, it was just this feeling of community and of all for one and all that, which I love, which is always great, always great. And then what? So is that all I have for that? Yeah, that's all I got for that. And so then at the end, because they were gonna go off and do the encore thing, and the guitarist is like, I'm too drunk. That seems like a lot of work. We're just gonna play our last song now. So I think they played their last song, and then they called for everybody else to get on stage, all the rest of the remaining bands who were there, which I think was, all of Heil Sagan, all of Aboleth, all of Infamous Memories, and I think just Randy from Karma Sutra was left. I think the rest of the band had taken off. And then they all got on stage and did Rage Against the Machine's Killing in Name, which was a good way to end the show. And there was a little false start, because if you know the song, you know that it starts with the da 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 da. So the drummer did a 4 count off, and the bass player just went right into the other part. Anyway, a false start. But again, live music. What are you gonna do? And that's the joy of it. So everybody got together, sang "Killing in the Name," and just absolutely killed it. And so, quick thing on Heil Sagan. So apparently after the show, they're loading up, and Heil Sagan were bad-mouthing the local acts, bad-mouthing the venue, just generally being kind of dicks. And the guitar player from Raven Black called him out on it, and he was sitting talking to Brigitte, the singer from Aboleth, and somebody knocked him down into her, knocked her down. He kind of went after them. They got in a car, drove away, started filming. Heil Sagan got kicked off the tour, which I think was the right move. But because of that, I just saw that Raven Black has agreed not to appear at this other festival because of the thing with Heil Sagan and blah, 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 which is a bummer. But, just don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick. Just, be cool. Just everybody else was cool, not you guys. Okay, almost out of time. But, so I walked away with an Aboleth CD and sticker and patch, which I just put on my vest. And then both Raven Black CDs and a Raven Black sticker, which are currently on my fridge. So all in all, good night. Excellent. And I think the next show I plan on going to is next Friday, I'm going to try to head out and see Fog Pilot at Nison's. And then after that, I don't know, because we got a couple coming up. But yeah, I think that's about it. So hopefully have a happy Sunday. Have a good rest of the week. Here, it's still bothering me. And, oh fuck, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.